Pooja, beta, please go ahead.
A very warm good morning to all. Joy lies in the fight, in the attempt, in the suffering involved, not in the victory itself. By Mahatma Gandhi. I am Pooja MS, student teacher of B.Ed Batch 2022. Welcome you all on the 11th day of this personality development program organized by the Training and Placement Cell, Army Institute of Education, Greater Noida. Joy captures the thrill of true learning, the curiosity, the passion, the collaboration, the connection, the effort, the fun, the pride, the sharing. Joyful learning speaks to both the learning process, where there is considerable evidence that a focus on techniques that we would describe as joyful are far more effective, and to an outcome that we believe should be valued highly. It's an honor for me to introduce her. Miss Bandan Preet Mahajan is an alumnus of Miranda House. She is an internationally certified public speaking coach and has been running Genius Communication Skills, Life Skills, Personality Development Unit for the past 20 years. She is a certified storyteller and a voiceover artist. She is also a youth skill mentor with several models being delivered by her Pan Globe for professional, executive, students, teachers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. She has been editor and proofreader to several coffee table books, magazines, college newspapers, and journals. She has assisted 4 research scholars with their PhD thesis. She has several awards on her credits. Some of them are Rajiv Gandhi Excellence in Education Award, the Educational Entrepreneur Award, Dr. Sarojini Naidu International Award, and many more. We are pleased to have you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Abhilasha Gautam, Principal of Army Institute of Education, ma'am, Greater Noida, welcome our guest of the day. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja. Beta, ma'am will join at the time of vote of thanks. So, ma'am, on behalf of Training and Placement Cell, ma'am, it's my proud privilege to welcome you again on the board. And I'm sure, ma'am, today's topic, we will get a lot of information regarding how we can use the kitchen as a joyful resource. And as you in the past also mentioned that it is the most important quality of a teacher. The teacher should be a resourceful. So it is not like that we always use expensive teaching learning materials and all these things. So we should use resources from a kitchen also. So what is the way to using kitchen as a resource? Looking forward to your session, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the warm welcome. So, yes, as we know that the topic for today is kitchen as a resource for joyful learning. There are a few things that we need to discuss about joyful learning before that. Ma'am, is there some kind of an echo or something?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Pooja, beta, please switch off your mic. Oh. Yes, ma'am. Now I hope it is fine.
Yeah, I'd just like to check, is it fine? I think now it's okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. So let's start with today's session. As I was mentioning, before we go ahead and discuss how we can use kitchen as a resource, it's very important to describe and define what joyful learning is. But even before that, I think we need to first go ahead and, traditionally the way we start our session, let's have an icebreaker for today as well. So today I would like to have this particular round of what is called 2 truths and 1 lie. Okay, so let me see if you guys know about this particular activity. So if you know about it, just write yes in the chat box. I'd like to know how many of you know about it. 2 truths and 1 lie. Okay, Benita says yes. So Benita, could you unmute yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Benita, since you mentioned that you know about this game, so let me just tell you what you have to do right now is pertaining to the kitchen or pertaining to your kitchen, cooking abilities, I would like you to share with people 3 sentences in total, 2 of which should be truths, and one of them should be a lie. And then we'll see how many people can guess which of these is a lie. And Benita, I hope you've understood. It has to be pertaining to kitchen or
Yes.
cooking. Okay, so you can start thinking about these sentences, and in the meanwhile, I will give you all 3 sentences on my behalf. You have to guess which 2 sentences are truths and 1 sentence that is a lie. So my first sentence goes like this: I love to cook butter chicken. That's my first sentence. My second sentence is I started learning to cook on the first day of my marriage. And the third sentence is I keep a track of groceries for the kitchen. I'll repeat these 3 sentences. Number 1, I love to cook butter chicken. Number 2, I started learning to cook on the first day of my marriage. And number 3, I keep a track of groceries for the kitchen. Which of these do you think is a lie? 1, 2, or 3? Let's have it in the chat box from everyone. Okay, Ajit says 2. Shubham, Pooja, they all say 2. Okay, let's have more answers. Then I'll reveal the correct answer, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Monica, Pooja, 2. Come on, guys, this is simple, very simple. Okay, Benita, I hope you're still thinking about your sentences and we'll have it after this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Come on, guys, let's have some more answers. Pooja, I guess you can also type. Okay, let's have you write down something. Okay, so I have got 2 as an answer from most of the people, but the lie in this case is I keep a track of groceries for the kitchen because I don't keep a track. It's my husband who keeps the track. Okay, so the first one, that is I love to cook butter chicken, is correct. I started learning to cook on the very first day of my marriage. So that is also correct because before that I didn't know how to cook at all. And I keep a track of groceries for the kitchen. That is the incorrect statement. It's my husband who keeps a track of the groceries in the kitchen. So this is how it goes. And now, Benita, if you are ready with your sentences, let's have it from you also.
Yes, ma'am. So my first sentence is, I love cooking and make variety of dishes. And my second sentence is, I go to market to get the groceries items whenever there is a required for them. And the third is, I am master in baking cake.
Okay, so I want all of you to write your answers in the chat box. Which of these 3 sentences is a lie? Benita, if you could repeat the 3 sentences for everyone again.
Yes, ma'am. So my first sentence was, I love cooking and make variety of dishes. My second sentence was that I go to the market to get the grocery items whenever it is required in the home. And the third is, I am master in baking cake.
Okay. Jyoti ma'am, इस बार आप भी आंसर दीजिए, देखते हैं. Let's take a guess. Even I'm putting an answer now.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. So, okay, we've got so many answers here. Let's see. So, Benita, I hope you're able to see the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, I think let's wait for another 10 seconds and then you can reveal the answer. Okay, Benita, go ahead and give the answer, please.
Ma'am, the correct answer is second one. I'll never go to the market, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so I thought you'd be saying I love to cook is the wrong one because most of the girls these days they're not interested in going to the kitchen.
In my case, I love to cook, ma'am, because the night duty is mine to make the food for the whole family, and I love to cook Sundays, weekend also, ma'am.
That's nice. That's really nice. So one day I think we'll come over to your place to have dinner.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially for having cakes.
Yes, for the cakes. Yes. Okay. So the next question for today is, as teachers, I think all of you probably know about the fact that, the kind of activities we take up in class should usually do something with STEM. STEM. Do you know what is the full form of STEM? What does S stand for? What does T stand for? What does E stand for? And what does M stand for? As a matter of fact, why I'm taking this term up is because even when we are in the kitchen, there are a lot of STEM activities that we can take up. So what is STEM? STEM. Anyone? You can just unmute yourself and give the answer if you know it. Anybody? Now, this is something which is
Ma'am,
really
science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
very good. And who's that?
Ma'am, Pushpa Kumari.
Thank you, Pushpa. Pushpa, since you've given the answer, S stands for science, T for technology, E for engineering, and M for mathematics. These days, I'm sure you must have seen there is a slight,
Yes, ma'am.
modification, and they now
Yes,
call
ma'am.
it STEAM.
STEAM.
Yes. So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is A for?
STEAM.
What does A stand for
Ma'am,
now?
for arts, ma'am. For arts
Absolutely right.
integration.
Yes, very nice. So you need to integrate or incorporate science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics into a lot of your lesson plans to make it more interesting wherever it is feasible. I mean, I'm not saying you have to use all the components, but as far as possible, try to incorporate these activities in your curriculum, in the way you extend your curriculum, so that it makes it very, very joyful. So having done these two activities, let's now go on to the main session for today. So I'd be sharing my slides and then we'll start. Okay, Shubham, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, and I'd just like to check if the slides are also moving properly. Can you see the second slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Perfect.
ma'am.
Okay. So let's start off with today's session. As you all know, it's about joyful learning. And I mentioned that we're going to be starting off with what joyful learning is and why is it so important that we're discussing it today in this particular session. So I'm sure everyone knows about the new education policy paper, which was given out in 2020. Why I have brought this into the context of today's session is because this policy has, it requires all the school heads to ensure that there is implementation of competency based education, and herein you're required to create learning environments in your class that enable the students to engage in a meaningful learning process while being thoroughly engaged and interested in it. So I think when we talk of competency based teaching and learning, we can use a variety of methods which are very experiential in nature. I'm sure everyone knows what is experiential learning. Can I have Abhay? Abhay, I guess you're there in the meeting. Abhay, if you could tell me what is experiential learning, maybe just an example. My definition nahi mang rahi hu proper. If you could just explain what experiential learning is.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Abhay.
Morning.
Good morning.
Uh, Ma'am, the experiential learning could be like learning from the like an example that when a small kid touches a
Mhm.
hot
Yes.
hot
Maybe a candle,
hot
a burning candle.
yes, ma'am. So he or she could get to know that if I touch this from next time, then
Yeah.
definitely going to hurt me. So that's experiencing learning, ma'am.
So you basically learn from your experiences, whether an experience is good or bad. Experiences teach you, and they're the best teachers in life. So yes, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And kitchen se acha, I don't think there's any other thing at your place at homes that you can use for teaching students joyfully. And it becomes all the more important because most of us are going online these days, and even later in future we'll be adopting more or less like a hybrid model. So some days the students might as well be coming to school, and a few of the days they'll be staying at home, something which has been followed in the western countries for so many years now. So आगे चलकर भी virtual learning रहेगी और नहीं भी जहाँ virtual learning है वहाँ पे भी you can use kitchen as a resource, and जहाँ पर even if you're going to school you can ask things to be brought from the kitchen and take up learning in class. So that's how it is. And let's move on to what the next thing is. So as we discussed, joyful learning hoti kya hai? It is the mode of learning in which the learners are given opportunities to experience emotions. Now, emotions of surprise in delightful ways. ऐसा नहीं कि उनको shock लगना चाहिए. It should be a pleasant surprise जिसमें उन्हें खुशी मिले. It nurtures their curiosity, as was given in the beginning of the session. And then, while interacting with meaningful content through a supportive community of classmates or peer groups and teachers. So, this is what describes joyful learning. एंड व्हाट इज द पर्पस, हम क्यों जॉयफुल लर्निंग का इस्तेमाल करते हैं? ताकि हमारा पर्सपेक्टिव बच्चों का चेंज हो. द लर्नर्स आर मोर एंगेज्ड एंड दे आर because whenever something interests us, we will be thoroughly engaged in learning. So इस तरीके से हम उन्हें engaged रख सकते हैं. This improves their motivation. Intrinsically, they will be motivated कि हाँ आज इस मैम का lecture है, वो हमें बहुत अच्छे से कराती हैं, and they'll be thoroughly motivated कि चलो अपने आप से they'll start learning. Authentic learning, yes, there is some genuine learning, because theoretically जो हम पढ़ते हैं उसमें से I think around 50 to 60% जो है वो या तो हम यूज नहीं करते और इट इज नॉट रेलेवेंट फॉर अस इन रियल लाइफ. लेकिन जब हम एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग करते हैं, maybe through the kitchen or maybe through other resources and teaching aids, then it is something that leads to genuine learning in terms of the fact that you get ready for the real world. And there's a fine balance between control and autonomy. मतलब टीचर का कितना कंट्रोल होना चाहिए ओवर द एक्टिविटी, बच्चों का कितना होना चाहिए, बच्चों को फ्रीडम कितनी मिलनी चाहिए. So there's a fine balance. ऐसा नहीं कि बच्चों को आपने छोड़ दिया and they are doing anything that they want to do. So there is a slide. So as we mentioned few days back, the teacher would act more like a coach, like a guide, or like a facilitator in these kinds of activities. Strategies that you could adopt is, there are so many things. I mean, this list is again not exhaustive. You could use games, puzzles, role plays, clay modeling, nature walk. Nature walk का example भी किसी ने दिया था when we discussed about photosynthesis. So there are so many things that you can do. Then as an activity, so joyful learning here, since we are discussing what joyful learning is, let's take up two activities to just give you an idea as to what kind of activities you can take up in your classrooms to ensure that your students are thoroughly engaged and they enjoy the class. But let's see you participating, because today very less number of students are already there in the class, and उसमें से भी बहुत कम लोग participate करें. So guys, wake up and start answering right away. Okay, so this is something very interesting. So if you were stranded on an island for 3 months, what would be the two most important things that you would like to carry with you? So let's have your answers in the chat box. अगर 3 महीने तक आप किसी आइलैंड पर अकेले रह जाते हो, अकेले होते हो, तो आपके लिए आपके हिसाब से दो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें क्या होंगी जो आपको साथ चाहिए होंगी? Any two things? Just give the names. Quickly type in the chat box. Let's have some answers from you. So this is sample activity 1 for joyful learning. And uske baad you could probably talk about islands, you could talk about water bodies, you could talk about survival skills. अगर फायर की बात हो रही है जैसे, तो फायर का इन्वेंशन कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ, उससे हम कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं. There are so many concepts and ideas that you can go into. Okay, so I've started getting the answers. Jyoti says water and food. Binita says food. Binita, दो चीजें हैं. Then knife and matchbox. Yogesh, water and food. Monica. Okay, Ritu, food and medical needs. Yes, after coronavirus, I think medical needs sabko chahiye. Then weapons to fight strangers. Yes, Pushpa, that is a good answer. Quite innovative. One truck full of food. Kanika to pehle hi leke bathi hai, pura truck chahiye. And one truck full of water. Okay, nice. She's even mentioned the quantities that she'd be requiring. Yes, food and knife. I'm happy that, a lot of places where I use this activity, a lot of young people say that one of the things that they would require is their mobile phone. मतलब जैसे होता है जान जाए पर phone ना जाए. So I'm happy none of you mentioned phone, because I think you people can survive without it. Okay, that's nice. So let's move on to sample activity 2. Again, this activity is to do with joyful learning. This will require, because ये बिल्कुल basic activity थी, इसमें you'd be required to think a little. Let's see how do you answer. Okay. Yes, Kanika, there will be no charging points, but then maybe for a few days they might as well take a power bank kind of a thing, no? So yes, I'm happy, Kanika. You gave us a very logical answer. So let's have sample activity 2. I am like cake or apple or chocolate juice because I am. So how do you compare yourself with to any one of these items? Cake, apple, chocolate, juice. Because I am dash. So you have to give a reason also. So ये जो activity है, you could use when you are teaching nouns to your students, or maybe you're teaching them about fruits and vegetables, and or you maybe junk food and healthy food. तो ये activity वहाँ ले सकते हैं. The second one would be I am like line, ray, point because I am dash. Now this is to do with geometry. So when you're teaching geometry, this is the kind of question you could put up. Because when you say line, ray, point, बच्चा explain करेगा कि मैं अपने आप को ऐसा क्यों मानता हूँ, तो automatically it will tell you that the students have got to understand what a line is, how is it different from a ray, or for that matter, how is it different from a point. So let's have the answer for the first one. I am like this because I am this. How would you answer the first one? So Benita says, I am like chocolate because I'm sweet. That's very, yes, a straight, simple answer. I'm very sweet. An apple because I'm good for health. Okay. Pratibha, that's your answer. I am like chocolate because most people like me. Yes, Shubham, that's nice because chocolates are very popular amongst people. And Ritu says I'm an apple because I'm strong and sweet. Very nice. Rahul is a juice full of energy. Again, a good answer. Okay. Fine. So we've got a lot of answers for the first one. Let's now move on to the second one. I am like a line, a ray, a point because I am dash. Let's see how many of you can give us this answer. Okay, Rahul is saying because I am a line because I'm open for second. Rahul, if you could please explain the second one. I am like a ray because I'm helpful. Ritu, ये जो ray है, this is geometry वाला ray. मतलब sun की ray वाला नहीं है because I don't know why are you writing I am helpful. Let's have some more answers. ऐसा कुछ जिसमें इसका concept clarity आती है. So Rahul and Ritu, if you could share your answers again. Okay, I am like a line because there's no end point to my idea of success. Yes, Monica, brilliant. Binita says I am a point because I stick to my words. Yes, okay, that will also do. Sapna says I'm line because I'm continuous. So इसको आप complete कर सकते because I continuously strive for something. There is no end to my hard work. Yes. Okay, I'm like a line because I'm open-ended. I'm open-minded like a line. Yes, correct, Rahul. I've understood this. तो यही है कि अगर आप अच्छे से explain करोगे, then your point will go across to the other person very clearly. So now it is absolutely right. I am a ray because as I start the things and I go on. So yes, a ray में there is one fixed reference point and the extension is in one direction only. I'm a point because I form the other two. Yes, Manish, you're very good. That's an intelligent answer. एक point से ही ray और line बनती है, right? I am like a ray because I keep on going no matter what. Okay, that's nice. So this is a way in which you can, explain the concepts of geometry to your students, maybe the middle wing students or something like class 6 or 7. Okay, so let's move on to our next activity. The principles for creating a joyful lesson plan. So when you're creating a joyful lesson plan, you have to ensure these things. So number one, ऐसा कुछ बनाइए जिससे बच्चों को सोचने का मौका मिले. Let them think, let them introspect, let them connect the dots, and let them enhance their knowledge, or being facilitated by you, but then trying to do it on their own. Try to bring novelty to your lessons, क्योंकि जब आप ये सब करेंगे तो obviously you will bring in new ideas, and that is what will raise the curiosity of students, and that's how they'll be engaged. Transcends subject boundaries. Now let me take for an example, जैसे अगर आप खाना बना रहे हैं in the kitchen, we'll be taking up a few activities later on. So उसी में there'll be some science involved, उसी में there'll be some history involved. Can you tell me how? Science भी involved होती है, economics भी involved होती है, history भी involved होती है. Can anyone tell me कैसे एक activity के through you can get to understand all these three? Shubham, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shubham, कैसे हम एक activity कोई भी kitchen में करें? So how can we understand economics from there? What lessons in science can we learn from there, and what lessons in history can we learn from there?
Okay, ma'am. Let's suppose that we are making a dish, shahi paneer, right, ma'am?
Okay, correct.
So if I talk about economics, so while we are making dish, we buy things, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely
we are
right.
on a limited budget. So then we
Very
have to
good.
think that the cost and all and the items we need
So that
on.
is economics, the money that is involved in buying groceries, and how do you use the gas stove to ensure that minimum amount of gas is used there.
Yes.
Okay,
And
second,
history. There
okay,
is always history of the dishes, that how we make them, the essence and the
yes,
flavor and all those things. What things are to be put later, and what things are to be
yes,
put
and
how.
जैसे yes, you will be putting in spices. So maybe spices का origin कहाँ से आया, या इस dish का origin कहाँ से आया. Then you can go into, अगर कोई item है जो मुगल item है, मुगलई item है, so how did the Mughals come to India, and what is the origin of the dish? Correct, history is there, and then
And
science.
mine is the way of cooking. We can say how it how it happens, right, ma'am?
Yes.
How we do it.
So
We
yeah,
can
whether
do
you're steaming or whether you are frying something, or deep
correct, correct.
frying or shallow frying,
Yes.
then even when you're cooking something, flame ka color hota hai alag alag. So you can
Yes.
teach them about the different colors of the flame. So yes, तो एक ही चीज में आप बहुत सारे subjects cover कर सकते हो. So let's make it what is called interdisciplinary. I'm sure you must have been taught this term by now. So let's adopt an interdisciplinary approach. And yes, this kind of a experiential learning is very very personalized, because हर बच्चा खुद करता है, एक personal experience लेता है और उसकी basis पे उसकी personal learning होती है. And it facilitates connections in learning and builds intrigue. Intrigue means there is curiosity that gets built up. Okay, Pushpa says making rice in the pressure cooker, we can save money. Yes, very nice. That's about cooking technique. And science is involved as we talk about pressure. Very nice. Pushpa, that's a good answer. Okay, so when we talk of education, joyful learning, these are the kinds of things. I don't need to go into detail because I'm damn sure that you people must have been told about project-based, experiential, and we've discussed integration of art and STEM right now, competency-based, flexible, integrated. All these terms are something which I'm sure you all are already aware of. So, what are the skills that we develop through this kind of learning? Flexibility, initiative, leadership, accountability, communication, and management. How do we develop these skills? As and when we will proceed with the exemplar activities, we'll get to understand how these skills get developed. So primary idea is that you have to, out of you people are students, and then later on when you people teach students, they should emerge as global citizens who are rooted in Indian ethics. So we should be ready for the real world, a world that is globalized, that is thoroughly connected, but at the same time we do not forget our roots, our traditions. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So now let's move on to the second major part of this session today, which is kitchen as a resource of joyful learning, how we can use it as a resource and how teachers can employ this. So the next thing is that, I mean, we all know what has happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's a lot of lack of face-to-face interaction, and because of which, there have been challenges कि हम कैसे अलग-अलग methods का इस्तेमाल करें so that we achieve the desired outcomes as far as teaching learning is concerned. So we need, obviously, I think one, because अगर हम ऐसे बैठे right now, a lot of you have put off your videos. हो सकता है आप में से कुछ शायद सीट पे भी नहीं होंगे इस समय, but the point is कि ऐसा क्या करें जिससे बच्चे engaged रहे, वो आपकी बात सुने, and they are encouraged to take part in the teaching learning process. तो उसके लिए अगर हम उन्हें अच्छे अच्छे experiences देते हैं, now for example we take up the icebreaker activities, the reason is that probably this is one way in which you can engage your audiences. So use more experiential methods, and that's exactly the reason why we're taking up this topic today. So kitchen, I think, is one such resource which is just around the students in their homes, and they can easily use it. And I think it's very easy, and I think it's pretty much right to say that the kitchen that we use is a laboratory outside school. I think you can see this slide, just a minute. Okay, so a kitchen is a laboratory which is outside school, and it is a space for learning. Someone has rightly said the kitchen is a laboratory and everything that happens there has to do with science. जैसे हमने अभी discuss किया, it goes across different subject boundaries. It is biology, chemistry, physics, history, art, mathematics, and even economics. So when we see the components of our kitchen, like the spices we eat, the weighing scales we use, the flame of the gas stove that burns in different colors, the firewood we use in the traditional kitchens, the different types of fuels that we use in the kitchen, all of these go ahead and prove what we're just trying to say, that the kitchen is a laboratory outside school and it is a great space to learn. When we talk of COVID-19, I think it has led to what are called the 3 Rs. Number one, it has redefined the roles of parents in schools. Now, why do I say this? See, जैसे मैंने बोला, आगे चलकर hybrid model भी adopt होगा. Even if we get rid of the COVID-19, we will still go ahead and adopt the hybrid model. So इसमें ये रहेगा that when the parents, as far as parents are concerned, I think they would be, like teachers at home, or they would be more like facilitators at home, and they will take care of the personality grooming and the value inculcation in among students. Whereas the schools are concerned, schools will be assigned bigger, bolder roles to perform, एंड आई थिंक स्कूल्स में सोशल फंक्शंस ज्यादा वो परफॉर्म करेंगे, जहां बच्चों के बीच कोलैबोरेशन, कम्युनिकेशन एस्टैब्लिश किया जाता है, इवेंट्स कंडक्ट किए जाते हैं, फेस टू फेस इंटरैक्शंस एंड एक्टिविटीज कंडक्ट होती है. सो दीज आर कॉल्ड सोशल फंक्शंस, राइट? So I think there'll be a demarcation between the roles of parents and schools, and each one of them will have a very, very, important role to play. And then it has re-established the roles of homes as learning spaces. तो अभी ये है कि घर से चीजें जो है रिसोर्सेज यूज करते हुए हमें लर्निंग स्पेसेस क्रिएट करनी है, and reigniting the focus on learning becoming a habit. So it's not learning because you are obliged to your parents or your teachers to do so. You're learning for your own benefit, and you make that realization कि yes, this is my lifestyle, this is my habit. जितना मैं अच्छा पढ़ूंगा या पढ़ूंगी या मैं एक्टिविटीज में इन्वॉल्व रहूंगी, उतने ही आउटकम्स अच्छे रहेंगे. दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ passion that we need to inculcate amongst our students. So the skills, values, and attitudes that you can learn in the kitchen. Kitchen can be used for empowerment and well-being of individuals and families, because they help us, with to create these values and inculcate these values of caring, sharing, accepting responsibility. There is this communication skills that you develop with your family members. Even in the picture, I think you can make out that all these values, how these values are being incorporated. Budgeting, planning, as Shubham just mentioned. Life skills for survival, like cooking, etc. जैसे अभी हमने एक एक्टिविटी की थी कि if you are stranded on the island, what would you do? What all things would you require? So अगर आपको survive करना है, you need to be cooking, and for that you will need to know a lot of these skills. So I think kitchen से ही we can learn all these survival skills. Then you can envision and uncover the latent potential and unrealized possibilities by learners. You learn about interdependence, collaboration, and teamwork, and you also learn about different subjects, जैसे हमने अभी discuss किया, through a lot of examples. So before I move ahead with some interesting activities, there is a little bit of theoretical concept that you need to know, and that is called kitchen for constructivist learning. Constructivist learning, as the name suggests. Now, this is a model which was given by Bandan, Bawden, Bandan. So, what do we say here? As the name suggests, constructivist comes from construct or construction. So, इसमें primarily what we do is learner की जो learning है, एक होता है, I think you're aware of this thing. We move from known to the unknown when it comes to teaching learning, right? सो नोन मतलब उसका जो ऑलरेडी एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं या जो उसके पास ऑलरेडी नॉलेज है वो तो है, बट उसके ऊपर न्यू लर्निंग को हम कंस्ट्रक्ट करते हैं बाय प्रोवाइडिंग देम न्यू एक्सपीरियंसेस. So through experiential learning, we try to construct on their pre-existing learning. That's what constructivist learning is all about. So there are two elements: what the learner already knows and believes, and ideas and knowledge which he or she comes in contact, which amount to his or her experience. So we are constructing, जैसे building होती है brick by brick हम construct करते हैं, ऐसी learning को भी हम construct करते हैं step by step. Then how do we use kitchen for experiential learning? So there is this cycle, as I mentioned, this is given by Bandan. It is considered to be one of the most effective pedagogy to ascertain the implementation of constructivism. So how do we go about this? There is a cycle that is involved here. The first thing is that there is a concrete experience, doing or having an experience. So जैसे kitchen में maybe शाही पनीर, जैसे अभी किसी ने बोला कि शाही पनीर बना रहे, so that's the experience, एक concrete experience है जो बच्चे को मिल रहा है. Then reflective observation. तो अब उस experience पे उसे reflect करना होगा. Maybe he will think about कि मैंने कौन से processes involve किए, इसमें कैसे बनाई चीज, क्या spices डाले, वो spices कहाँ से आए, groceries में कौन कौन सी चीजें थी जो इस recipe में involved थी. So this is when you sit back and then you have a reflection and you make various observations and probably you put them down on some piece of paper. And then abstract conceptualization. Based on that, आप अपने कंक्लूजन्स निकालते हो, अपनी लर्निंग निकालते हो कि यस, आज मैंने प्रेशर के बारे में सीखा या आज मैंने फ्लेम के बारे में सीखा. एंड देन you go ahead and try active experimentation wherein you try out what you've learned. तो जैसे अगर आपने स्टीमिंग के बारे में सीखा तो उसी स्टीमिंग को इन्वॉल्व करते हुए आप किसी और आइटम को भी बनाने की कोशिश करेंगे. So this is how the cycle completes, and this is how you construct on your pre-existing learning. So it's concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. Very simple, nothing much. So See, the idea is कि cooking में बच्चे हम क्यों बार-बार kitchen की बात करें? Why don't I talk about the drawing room or the bedroom or any other room for that matter? Because kitchen में जब हम बच्चों को cooking में involve करते हैं, so it engages students at an almost instinctive level. कहीं ना कहीं पांचों जो हमारी senses हैं वो यूज होती हैं, चाहे वो सुनने की हो, जैसे अब अगर कुकर में एज बी से सीटी बजती है, ओके, तो हम सुनेंगे और उससे हमें आइडिया लगेगा क्या हो रहा है या दाल अब बन गई होगी, बिकॉज फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई टेक पल्स, तो पल्सेस में अलग अलग पल्सेस है, हर एक का एक अलग अलग टाइम होता है, किसी में एक सीटी में दाल बन जाती है, किसी में 4-5 सीटी में बनती है, सो यू नो, यू अंडरस्टैंड थ्रू योर हियरिंग प्रोसेस. स्मेल, ठीक है, मसाला बन गया या नहीं बन गया, यू वुड अंडरस्टैंड बाय लुकिंग एट इट ऑल्सो एंड स्मेल वाइज ऑल्सो. एट टाइम्स वी टेस्ट, खाते समय तो टेस्ट करते ही है, बट बनाते समय भी वी ट्राई टू टेस्ट एंड अंडरस्टैंड इसका टेस्ट कैसा है, बन गया है कि नहीं बन गया, कच्चा है या पक्का है. यू टच अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स टू अंडरस्टैंड whether the thing is made or not, and then vision is obviously there. So कहीं ना कहीं क्योंकि ये हमें बिल्कुल instinctive level पर जोड़ता है, that's why the curiosity is much higher, the level of interest is much higher, and the level of engagement is also much higher. So right now the schools are not functioning physically, and the kind of environments that they used to engage in are just out of hand right now. So let's adopt kitchen as a resource. So kitchen mein we can use it for a lot of theoretical concepts. So I would want one of you, okay, Ritu, are you there? Ritu S.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
ओके ऋतु, अगर आप मुझे बता सको, जो फर्स्ट वाली पिक्चर है वो कप एंड सॉसर वाली, और जो दूसरी पिक्चर है रोलर पिन वाली, बेलन जिसको बोलते हैं, इन दोनों से कौन सा थियोरेटिकल कॉन्सेप्ट, नॉट प्रैक्टिकल, प्लीज रिमेंबर, थियोरेटिकली हम कौन सा कॉन्सेप्ट सिखा सकते हैं बच्चों को? मतलब माय पॉइंट इज, चाय बनाना इज प्रैक्टिकल, वो नहीं, या बेलन से रोटी बनाना इज प्रैक्टिकल, लेकिन इन दो चीजों से कोई थियोरी की चीज है जो हम सिखा सकते हैं? ओके, आई विल ब्रिंग इट सिंपली, ज्योमेट्री का कौन सा कॉन्सेप्ट सिखा सकते हो आप इससे, मैथमेटिक्स या ज्योमेट्री?
Ma'am, in the first picture, like if we have to talk about the geometry wala thing, in this we can show them that this plate is in is a circle, circular in shape.
And
the
the second one
is linear, and in the second one we can tell them that the shape of the roller pin, then the shape of the dough, in which we can make it into triangular also, we can make it in square also, we can make it in
रोलर पिन की क्या शेप है?
it's in cylindrical form.
Very good. And in दोनों से circle 2D है and cylinder 3D है, you can even go into that.
Yes,
So
ma'am, the
very
2D
good.
and 3D shapes also.
Yes, so I think that is a very good answer. Let's go on to the next picture, which is the spices one. So Ajit, if you're there, if you could give me the answer to this.
Yes, ma'am, present, ma'am.
हाँ, इसमें हम क्या बच्चों को theoretically क्या सिखा सकते हैं?
Ma'am, actually, I think which picture, ma'am?
जिसमें spices है.
We can explain the, actually every spices have its own flavor, and they utilize for the various remedies also, ma'am.
Yes.
Even the spices have one of the India's largest history. When
Correct.
we study about the Silk Road and spices
Very
travels
good.
all over the world, ma'am. So we can tell million of things, ma'am, over there.
Right. So historically, you can talk about the origin. Especially, I think most of our spices come from South India. तो साउथ इंडिया के ट्रेडिशंस, वहाँ की क्लाइमेट कैसा है जिसकी वजह से स्पाइसेस वहाँ इतनी अच्छी से आती हैं हमारे पास यील्ड. एंड एज ही मेंशन्ड, स्पाइसेस कैन बी यूज्ड फॉर मेडिसिनल यूज एज वेल, सो उसमें हम थोड़ा साइंस का आइडिया ले सकते हैं. So yes, that is absolutely right. Let's move on to Garima. Garima, are you there today?
Ma'am,
yes, who's that?
Ma'am, Ritu.
Yes, Ritu, tell me.
Ma'am, in this section of that spices wala, we can also take up the concept of mathematics. Like if we have to talk about the proportion, that what spice goes in what proportion, so that it not.
Yes, so proportion से mathematics का ratio and proportion का topic introduce किया जा सकता है. Very nice, good. By the way, are you specializing in mathematics? One more thing. Are you specializing in mathematics?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I thought you were specializing इसलिए आपका mathematical orientation है. Okay, yes, someone else also wanted to answer.
Yes, ma'am. Like, ma'am, with the use of these spices, we can also teach the chemistry topics like the indicator, like
Yes,
turmeric
turmeric.
is used as a natural indicator, ma'am.
Yes.
And yes, ma'am. And with the use of this roller pin, if we press that, definitely when we press something, its size gets reduced. So we can also tell the concept of area and pressure and
Yeah.
its relation.
Correct. But the only thing, what is your good name, please?
Yes, ma'am, I'm Pushpa Kumari.
Okay, Pushpa, the thing is your answer is correct. और इनफैक्ट हम ये आंसर लेंगे भी थोड़ी देर में, लेकिन अभी जो आप बता रहे हो वो उसकी एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड है. मतलब रोलर पिन को चलाने के बाद आपको प्रैक्टिकली प्रेशर का पता चलेगा, तो वो प्रैक्टिकल कॉन्सेप्ट्स में आ जाएगा. इसी तरह आप किस रेशियो में डाल रहे हो, अगेन दैट विल कम इन प्रैक्टिकल दिस थिंग. सो थियोरी वाइज जैसे हम सिर्फ देख रहे हैं, जैसे मैंने ये देखा चाय का कप सिर्फ दिख रहा है, मैंने कुछ एक्शन परफॉर्म नहीं किया. आई कैन जस्ट से शेप, cylindrical roller pin, just the shape, irrespective of the action. Spice padi hui hai, so just irrespective of the action. So we will take this up in practical concepts. Dusra, I think a lot of you can see that there is a vinegar bottle and there is, lemon. इससे हम साइंस का कौन सा कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ा सकते हैं? So let me take someone. Yes, please tell me your name and you can give the answer.
Yes, Ajit, go ahead. You raised your hand.
Yeah, someone was trying to give the answer here.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Ajit Pratap Singh, ma'am. We can easily teach about the pH level and acid and base concept in
Very
class
good.
9th and 7th.
Correct. Okay, let me see if Khushbu is there. Is Khushbu Gupta there? Medha Raghav or Priya Kumari? Any three of them there in the class right now? Okay. In that case, I leave it to you voluntarily. Who would like to answer? What is this, box showing us where there is a utensil which is there on the gas stove? So what is that theoretical concept that we can teach the students through this one? Anybody?
Evaporation.
Yes?
Evaporation.
Okay, so yes. Again, evaporation is a practical concept. जब वो कोई चीज उड़ती हुई देखेंगे, but generally सिर्फ देख कर ऐसे चलो. Okay, I'll take evaporation also. और क्या है?
Balancing.
Okay, balancing act. Anyone else? I think एक और आंसर आ रहा था.
Pressure. Heat and light, ma'am.
Heat.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Heat जैसे
combustion.
मैंने. Yes, combustion. Heat के बारे में different colors of the flame. I think we can also talk about traditional fuel items that we use in our kitchens. That is another idea. तो जैसे gas stove है, इसी तरह. Okay, yes, metals, non-metals, but जैसे हम
Ma'am,
बच्चों को
volume.
सिखाते हैं. Yes, volume is another concept. And again, इसकी भी एक shape है cylindrical, वो भी आप ले सकते हैं. So एक ही picture से एक ही resource से there are so many things that you can teach them, and इसी को हम कहते हैं interdisciplinary approach. So mathematics भी आ रहा है, science भी आ रहा है. There are so many subjects which are being involved here. And the last picture, now let's see if anyone can guess this one correctly. What am I trying to show as a theoretical concept through the last one?
Ma'am, quantity.
Okay. Quantity and
Fractions.
okay, fractions. Very good. See, these are basically your naan, parathas, puris. All these things can again be used to teach the history also of Mughals, because this has come from Mughal origin. So yes, I think a lot of you have been giving me a lot of answers here. Now, क्योंकि बीच में कुछ लोगों ने practical aspects भी दिए थे, let's move on to how do we use the kitchen for practical purposes. Okay, so the first one now. Anybody?
Ma'am, heat.
Okay.
Water vapor.
Yeah?
Water vapor, ma'am.
Chapati में?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
change.
When we make
Reversible change.
अगर हम ज़्यादा पानी डालेंगे तो वो evaporation के कारण वो फूलती है. Because जो वेपर है वो कहीं पर escape नहीं कर सकती, और escape नहीं करेगी तो जो रोटी है वो पकी हो जाती है.
Okay, fine. वैसे सही बता रही हूँ, मुझे इतना डिटेल में पता नहीं, because as I mentioned, उतनी भी ज़्यादा cooking पसंद नहीं है मुझे, but okay. Yes, we can talk about pressure also. We can talk about reversible and irreversible changes. And as बेटा आपने अभी जिसने आंसर दिया, what is your name?
Ma'am, Durgesh.
Okay, so Durgesh is also talking about evaporation. I'm assuming that the logic that she's telling us is correct. So given that, yes, you can teach about evaporation. I would like someone to answer about the next picture, which is to do with breads and cakes, basically. So usme hum kaun sa
Fermentation.
Very nice. Fermentation as a process, we can teach the kids as to कैसे fermentation के जरिए ये चीजें बनाई जा सकती हैं. And then there is another one जिसमें नीचे yogurt या curd है, उसमें हम क्या सिखाएंगे? Yes.
Lactobacillus.
Okay, very nice. Okay. इसके अलावा you can also teach them about states of matter. Okay, yes, the yeast, because और इसी से फिर आप उसमें भी जा सकते हो, जैसे डोसा वगैरह बनता है, कैसे crispy डोसास बन सकते हैं using fermentation. And the last one?
Vitamins.
Okay, you can teach about vitamins. अच्छा, how many of you remember, I think जो सबसे पहली basic activity हम साइंस में करते थे, there was something which is called the dal glossary. Do you remember this? What is the dal glossary? क्या करते थे?
Yes,
राहुल को
ma'am, we used to take.
Yes.
Ma'am, we used to take different type of dal, and we used to stick it in our notebooks and practical files, and we have to differentiate them.
Correct. और एक और भी हम करते थे कुछ चीज जो कि
the
हम
leaf वाला.
Okay,
The leaf
वाला और एक फैब्रिक्स भी होते थे, जूट, कॉटन, उसका भी करते थे. So इस तरह की भी ग्लोसरीज भी बनाई जा सकती है, and you can use them through the kitchen. And obviously जूट वगैरह तो आपको किचन में नहीं मिलेगा, but yes, fruits, vegetables का डिस्कशन किया जा सकता है, pulses का डिस्कशन किया जा सकता है through these, and then इनका कुकिंग प्रोसेस भी डिस्कस किया जा सकता है, which is the practical aspect of it. Okay, so obviously all these things that we're doing right now, they will help you with both scholastic runs of education and co-scholastic runs of education. Can anyone please distinguish between scholastic and co-scholastic? राहुल, आपको भूख लग गई है तो ऐसा करो, पहले आंसर दो, फिर आप किचन में खाना खाने जा सकते हो. Yes, राहुल.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. भूख तो मुझे भी लग गई है, but कोई बात नहीं, थोड़ी देर बैठते हैं. Yes, चलो.
Ma'am, scholastic aspects relate to the, education. I mean, curriculum point of view of the
academic, primarily academic या curriculum based. जो curriculum का academic part होता है. Okay, and co-scholastic?
Co-scholastic is related to your experiences on daily life experiences and activities based learning.
Yes, so जैसे sports का काम करते हैं कि we are running, dramatics, all these things are co-scholastic.
Art and drama also comes in.
Yes. इसमें एक चीज is something that you need to understand everybody. जब हम लोगों का टाइम था, when we were kids, इन्हीं को we used to call extra curricular activities. मतलब ये extra activities है, time pass. Then this became co-curricular activities, और जब CC आया तो अब हमने इसको co-scholastic कहा, because it is more or less complementary. In fact, ऐसा नहीं है कि we can do about it without it. So discipline आ गया, health, fitness, art, music, general studies. There are so many things that you could add to this. Drama, जैसे मैंने बोला. So scholastic and co-scholastic दोनों activities में you can use kitchen as your resource. Okay. Now the common objectives. Objective क्या हम क्यों kitchen को use करना चाहते हैं? Because I think learning objectives आप सभी लोग अपने lesson plans में भी डालते होंगे. So as we all know, they start with 2 all the time. So you to make learning joyful and experiential, we all know that. Stress-free environment for learning. ठीक है, इसमें stress नहीं होता because you're enjoying the entire process and experience. To promote the well-being of individuals, families, and societies through food and other components and constituents of a kitchen. To provide students with opportunities to understand basic human necessities. To enable students to understand scientific facts and principles involved in various forms of work. और इसके last point के लिए हमने अभी बहुत सारे examples किए हैं. Now, moving on to the next part, there are certain principles जो आपको as teachers follow करने चाहिए अगर आप kitchen as a resource use कर रहे हैं. तो एक तो आपको ये समझना होगा as a teacher कि बच्चों के अंदर curiosity, inquisitiveness, observation powers are very very strong. So activities वो बनाइए जिसमें उनकी ये चीजें जागृत हों. Okay. Second, the students must be inspired to achieve in-depth learning. तो जैसे अगर हमने shapes की बात की, उसके बाद further 2D 3D, then उसके बाद Euler's formula. There are so many things. So start from very general things, very basic things, and then move on to specific things, go deeper into it. जो एक्टिविटीज है उनके जरिए क्रिएटिविटी, इनोवेशन, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, एनालिसिस, कोलैबोरेशन, एंड आई एम श्योर यू ऑल नो दीज आर ऑल योर 21st century skills, और आपको यही कॉम्पिटेंसीज कोशिश करनी है थ्रू योर एक्टिविटीज डेवलप करनी है अपने बच्चों में. Then the activities done or planned should be purposeful. ऐसा नहीं कि randomly कुछ भी एक्टिविटी करा दी. There have to be, जैसे आप पहले learning objective define करते हो, you have to have that learning objective in mind. Based on the objective, decide and devise your activities. And it must aid in the acquisition of competencies. जो हम competencies 21st century की चाहते हैं अपने बच्चों में, make sure that they finally are incorporated. And they should be able to perceive, understand, plan, and then act. ये सारे processes के जरिए. And it must obviously, because it's joyful learning, so obviously it must provide joy. And it is not something जो आपको बच्चों को force करना पड़े. Okay, so you make sure that the students are engaged and motivated intrinsically. खुद से वो motivated हो और पढ़ने की कोशिश करें. So that's the kind of role that you as teachers would have to play in order to ensure that kitchen serves as an experience for joyful learning. Okay, so having said that, let's take a one exemplar activity. I think Shivam और मेरा अभी already इस पर discussion भी हो चुका है. So अगर हम homemade meal बनाते हैं, बच्चे को encourage करते हैं कि वो घर पे खाना बनाए. So through homemade meals, the students can learn the following things, जैसे nutrition. So अभी किसी ने थोड़ी देर पहले, I think पुष्पा ने बोला था या किसने बोला था, we can, जैसे fruits and vegetables है तो हम उसमें उनको vitamins, minerals कौन से होते हैं, balanced diet का वो part कैसे होते हैं. So nutrition, health, इन सब चीजों के बारे में सिखा सकते हैं. Through this we can teach them economics. जैसे शुभम ने बोला था कि इकोनॉमिक्स कैसे होगा इन्वॉल्व, बिकॉज यू बाय ग्रोसरीज, तो आप कोशिश करोगे कि कैसे लो कॉस्ट चीजें खरीदे लेकिन न्यूट्रिशियस भी हो. अगर कुकिंग प्रोसेस की बात करें तो वो कुकिंग प्रोसेस ऐसा हो जिसमें गैस ज्यादा यूज ना हो, बिकॉज दीज थिंग्स आर नॉन रिन्यूएबल रिसोर्सेज. तो हम नॉन रिन्यूएबल रिसोर्सेज के बारे में भी पढ़ा सकते हैं. हाउ डू यू कुक इन अ डिसिप्लिन मैनर, ये नहीं चीजें इधर उधर फेंकी हुई है, चीजें वेस्ट हो रही हैं. सो यू कैन इवन टीच देम डिसिप्लिन, okay, which is a core scholastic realm. And then sustainable development. Before I go ahead, can anyone tell me what is sustainable development? Now, this is a concept that you learn in economics. So is there any student who's doing economics or maybe geography or something like that?
Ma'am, may I?
Who's that?
Ma'am, Neetu Kumari.
Very good, Neetu. I'm happy कि आपने आज, you are trying to give an answer. I'm very happy. So yes, Neetu, please go ahead.
Ma'am, sustainable development is a process in which we use things in such a way so that the present generation can also use, and the next generation it can be used by the next generation.
Next generation, they don't have to suffer for lack of resources.
We can't extend it. We can't use all.
Absolutely right. So yes, Neetu has brought out a very relevant and a very important point. So अगर मैं जब बच्चों को सिखाती हूँ sustainable development, I involve 3 components. मेरे हिसाब से इसके अंदर 3 elements हैं. Number 1, जब हम development को देखते हैं from a long run perspective, ठीक है? Let me give an example here. We all think कि इतनी सारी आजकल सड़क पे गाड़ियां चल रही है. There are so many cars on the road these days. तो हम उसे देखकर बोलते हैं अरे हमारी कंट्री में तो बड़ी डेवलपमेंट हो रही है, राइट? लेकिन उसे हम डेवलपमेंट नहीं बोलते, उसे हम ग्रोथ बोलेंगे, बिकॉज दैट्स एन इंक्रीज इन द जीडीपी एंड इट इज दिस थिंग. बट आरंट यू रियलाइजिंग कि जितनी ज्यादा गाड़ियां हैं उतनी ज्यादा पोल्यूशन भी हो रहा है, उतना ज्यादा ट्रैफिक जैम भी हो रहा है, एंड इट इज एडवर्सली इम्पैक्टिंग द क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ दैट वी पीपल आर लीडिंग. सो हम डेवलपमेंट लेकिन जब सोचेंगे तो हम लॉन्ग रन पिक्चर को देखेंगे. जैसे आज की डेट में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स आ रहे हैं, कार्स आ रही हैं. So I think वो एक long run picture को देख के किया गया है. Plus you're not using non-renewable resources of energy. Second element. So पहला element हो गया long run. Second element हो गया development which is eco-friendly. मतलब जिससे environment को harm नहीं पहुंच रहा, जैसे मैंने अभी cars का example लिया. And the third one, as Neetu mentioned, which is one of the most important elements, is that you ensure that there are resources available for the future generations without compromising on the needs of the present generation. ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब मेरे को आगे आने वाली जनरेशन के लिए पेट्रोल चाहिए है तो आज की डेट में हम सब पेट्रोल बैन कर दें और सब लोग पैदल ही चलेंगे. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. तो हमें आज की डेट में जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं हम वो भी पूरे करें, लेकिन एक बैलेंस तरीके से पूरी करें, so that we are able to hand over our resources to the next generation also. So given this as a definition of sustainable development, so how can you teach that? By minimizing fuel consumption. जैसे थोड़ी देर पहले किसी ने बोला कि आप स्टीमिंग का इस्तेमाल करिए, जैसे हमें बोला जाता है गैस सिम पर यूज करिए, हमें बोला जाता है कि covered the item which is being used for cooking with a lid or something. So you could use different techniques. जैसे wahi chawal you can make it in a wok means kadhai, and the same chawal you can even make in your pressure cooker mein kam fuel use hoga. Then use more locally available food ingredients. I'm sure everyone knows, वैसे भी आजकल हम बहुत बोलते हैं vocal for local. Okay, so जो भी, और वैसे भी ये माना जाता है कि जो चीज locally available होगी वो ज्यादा अच्छी होगी और वो ज्यादा सस्ती भी होगी. एंड इसी तरह से बोला जाता है कि जो सीजन का फ्रूट और वेजिटेबल है यू यूज द सेम थिंग, बिकॉज अगर आपको आम आज की डेट में यू माइट एज वेल गेट मैंगो फ्रॉम एनीवेयर एंड फॉर 12 months इन अ ईयर, लेकिन वो जो होगा वो शायद सिंथेटिकली प्रोड्यूस्ड मैंगो होगा और उसके अंदर वो न्यूट्रिएंट्स नहीं होंगे, वो महंगा भी होगा एंड वो आपकी हेल्थ को कुछ फायदा नहीं देगा. सो लुक फॉर थिंग्स विच आर लोकल, लुक फॉर थिंग्स विच आर सीजनल, और ये चीजें अगेन हम किचन के थ्रू बच्चों को सिखा सकते हैं. देन फूड एंड हिस्ट्री. ठीक है, सो एक और एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं. सो आई एम श्योर एवरीवन नोज अबाउट रेनेसेंस मूवमेंट, जब इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन भी हुआ था. सो वहां
Yes,
से
ma'am.
who's that, Neetu again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think Neetu आपका शायद SST है सब्जेक्ट, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक
Yes,
है, चलो इसका मतलब दैट्स द बेनिफिट ऑफ यूजिंग एन इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच, इससे आप सबको इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं. Okay, so Rahul has written, I remember the ad in which the son used to tell his dad that मैं बड़ा होकर साइकिल रिपेयर वाली शॉप खोलूंगा. Okay, development should be focusing on serving our purpose but not in such a manner that we can use so that we can use and conserve resources for the future use as well. Yes, that is Ritu. So let's talk about the industrial revolution. तो industrialization या industrial revolution का topic अगर मुझे पढ़ाना है, I can start by focusing on the eating habits of people. So अगर आपने उस टाइम पर बनी हुई कुछ पिक्चर्स देखी हैं, मूवीज देखी हैं, so you will be aware of this fact कि लोग फैक्ट्रीज जब नई नई बनी थी तो फैक्ट्री में they used to go to work and they were not allowed to go back during lunchtime to to their homes. तो उन्हें वही खाना खाना होता था. So they used to bring their lunch with them. And this way I think a lot of people did not have proper or balanced diet, right? Because early morning खाना बनाना, even अभी भी अगर हम देखें, it's really difficult. And at times नहीं टाइम होता तो अच्छा ओके मार्केट से कुछ खरीद के खा लेंगे, चलते फिरते कुछ खा लेंगे. And the students this way, अब ये कैसे इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हो? The students can be asked to compare this kind of food with examples of balanced diet like vegetables, pulses, rice and whole grains. तो जहाँ हिस्ट्री में आप इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन या रेनेसांस मूवमेंट डिस्कस कर सकते हैं, वही साइंस का बैलेंस्ड डाइट का कॉन्सेप्ट यूज कर सकते हैं, वही हेल्दी फूड एंड जंक फूड का कॉन्सेप्ट यूज कर सकते हैं. That students can be asked to study about the change in food habits of Indians over number of years because of the interaction with people from different parts of the world. We've interacted with the British, we've interacted with the Dutch, we've interacted with the Portuguese, और हर बार जो भी कंट्री के लोग हमारी कंट्री में आए हैं, they've left an impact on our eating habits. इसीलिए आपने देखा होगा there's a wide variety of things that we have, right from Chinese to Japanese to Mughlai. इतनी चीजें हैं जो हम लोग खाते हैं. In fact, continental again, which comes from the British. So we can discuss about these kind of इसको हम बोलते हैं cross cultural interactions, again a part of history also. So you can take up so many different subjects from an activity like this. Okay. Let's move on to another activity here. This is one of my favorites. So what you can do is you can integrate storytelling with food. So आप इसमें I think first let's take the last picture here. So you can create a story here जिसमें आप अलग-अलग components को अलग-अलग नाम दे सकते हैं. So maybe you could call protein the protein shaker, जैसे आप इसमें picture में देख रहे हैं. You could call carbohydrate the quicker इसलिए because इससे बहुत जल्दी एनर्जी आती है. So you can make names and give names to different characters in the story and then create a story around those characters जिसमें maybe you could take junk food is the villain of the story and healthy food is the hero of the story, कैसे उनमें जंग होती है and finally जो healthy food है वो कैसे victorious होता है. So create a story around these characters. So this way you can use storytelling And storytelling क्यों एक बहुत अच्छा तरीका है for engaging the learners? Can anyone tell me why am I telling you to involve storytelling? Storytelling is a good way of interacting with your students. क्या benefits होते हैं storytelling के? Anyone? I think Ritu, if you're there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ritu, आप बता सकते हो why storytelling such a good method of teaching learning?
Ma'am, first point we can take that by storytelling, like students, the children are always interested in hearing the stories, may it be the folk tales or may it be anything, or with the non-fictional characters. They enjoy the animated characters and all, and if we include the storytelling, so they hear it with very matlab focus that what will happen next. The curiosity which they have, they develop it from the story, if we tell them the stories.
Okay, brilliant. I think कोई और भी कुछ आंसर देना चाह रहा था? Neetu says it makes teaching joyful and engaging.
It
Yes.
breaks the monotonous teaching way, I think, क्योंकि
Very good.
students always think कि वो हमें बुक से ही पढ़ाएंगे teachers, and अगर हम बुक से बाहर जाते हैं they feel it interesting.
Okay, what's your name, please?
Durgesh ma'am.
Okay, Durgesh, आज आप भी आंसर्स दे रहे हो, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. Keep up the good
Thank
work.
you, ma'am.
Pushpa says storytelling helps in making a topic very funny, engages the students more and more, enables creative thinking of students. Okay, fine. See, you people are telling me the impact. Storytelling का फायदा क्या होता है? But my reason is कि हम use ही क्यों करें in the first place? A very basic answer to this is there is something called the VAK community. VAK. Now the thing is, आपके जो students आपको मिलेंगे क्लास में, वो primarily I'm not saying again कि यही मिलेंगे, but primarily वो 3 categories के students होंगे. V for visual मतलब वो बच्चे जो देख के ज्यादा समझते हैं. मतलब आप उनके सामने ब्लैक बोर्ड पे चीजें लिखो या स्मार्ट क्लास ऑपरेट करो तो वो देखते हैं और देखकर वो एंगेज हो जाते हैं चीजों में. Then there is another set of students जो कि auditory learners होते हैं. Auditory means उनके ऊपर उन चीजों का ज्यादा असर पड़ता है जो वो सुनते हैं. Okay, so they are auditory learners. The third one is kinesthetic learners. Does anyone know what is kinesthetics? Because I'm sure ये कहीं ना कहीं आपने पढ़ा होगा अपने curriculum में. Does anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was the first person?
Durgesh.
Ma'am, I'm Neetu.
Okay, so पहले Durgesh and then Neetu. Give me the answers. Let's hear from Durgesh first and then Neetu.
I think मैम जो भी चीजें हम एक्शन के थ्रू समझाते हैं वो उनको
Okay.
जल्दी समझ आती हैं. That is kinesthetic.
Okay, and Neetu, what is your answer?
Ma'am, kinesthetic include both auditory as well as visual.
नहीं, actually इसमें
Ma'am,
Durgesh का answer is correct. Yes.
May I?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, kinesthetic means movement of the body, maybe
And your
movement
name?
of the body. I'm Jyoti Bist.
I didn't get your name. Could you be louder?
Jyoti Bist.
Okay, Jyoti. Fine. So I think Jyoti and Durgesh have given the correct answer. It is to do with the movement. और जब movement होती है तो उससे experience generate होता है और वो जो experience है that leads to learning. So basically action related, movement related जो होता है, so where the students will be thoroughly involved. Now why did I say storytelling? Because storytelling जो होती है ना उसमें audio भी रहेगा, उसमें विजुअल इम्पैक्ट भी रहेगा और आप मूवमेंट भी इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हो. अगर आप बच्चों को कुछ एक्शंस परफॉर्म करने के लिए बोलते हो, मे बी दे कैन स्टार्ट क्लैपिंग विद इट, दे कैन बी आस्क्ड टू शेक अ रिस्ट देयर वेस्ट हियर एंड देयर, दे कैन बी आस्क्ड टू क्रिएट सम काइंड ऑफ अ फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन. तो इस तरह से आपकी जो स्टोरी है वो तीनों तरह के लर्नर्स के लिए इस्तेमाल की जा सकती है. सो दैट मीन्स लर्निंग का जो इम्पैक्ट है एक ही फॉलो किया आपने इंस्ट्रक्शनल मोड और उससे आपने सबको केटर कर दिया. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई फोकस अ लॉट ऑन स्टोरी टेलिंग. ओके, एंड द रेस्ट ऑफ द 3 पिक्चर्स दैट आई हैव पुट इन हियर, उसमें से एक तो ब्रेड है विच इज अबाउट कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स. एक पिक्चर आप और देख रहे होंगे ब्रोकली एंड चॉकलेट. व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज दिस एक्टिविटी अबाउट? एनीबॉडी?
Ma'am, the health benefits.
Who's that? Please give me your name first.
I'm Monica.
Okay, Monica. Health benefits, if you could explain this a little bit.
Ma'am, as broccoli is considered into like vegetables and the chocolates is considered into junk food. So what is the benefits of this picture depicts the fight between both of these, and ultimately they need to prove why they are important and why they are essential.
Yes, so next पहली पिक्चर में there is a fight and second picture में as you can see broccoli ने finally जो है crush कर दिया है junk food को and the healthy food is getting
Ma'am,
victorious.
this shows that who is more stronger and which one makes you more stronger. If
Okay.
you'll have broccoli, then you'll be more stronger instead of having burger.
Okay. Who's that? If you could give me your name, please.
Ma'am Ritu.
Yes. Ritu, आपने बहुत अच्छा point raise किया है and यहीं से I will take up my next point of discussion and that is कौन सी चीज़ है जो हमें strong बनाएगी and कौन सी चीज़ है जो हमें strong नहीं बनाएगी, हमें weak feel कराएगी, slow feel कराएगी, lazy feel कराएगी. तो yes, we can take this up as a story. You can even use what is called music or sing song cadence to it. ओके तो आप स्टोरी भी सुना रहे हो और वो म्यूजिकल वे में सुना रहे हो सो यू हैव इनकॉर्पोरेटेड थ्रू 2-3 experiences or 2-3 activities straight away. So I have taken these pictures from what is called the English Tree TV. There is this channel on YouTube. If you go there, I think अगर आप healthy food versus junk food भी डालोगे ना videos में तो पहली यही story निकल कर आएगी. There is a song here and although I'm not very good at singing but I'll still try to give you an idea as to how you can take this up as an activity in your class for junk food versus healthy food. So this goes down very well with the primary wing students. Okay, even middle wing तक भी you can go. And जैसे मैंने बोला इसमें विजुअल इम्पैक्ट भी है बिकॉज पिक्चर्स चलती रहेंगी वीडियो चलता रहेगा ऑडियो है बिकॉज यू आर हियरिंग हाउ टू सिंग एंड स्टूडेंट्स कैन बी मेड टू परफॉर्म एक्शंस अलोंग विद इट अब मे बी वो क्लैपिंग है टैपिंग है फ्लिकिंग फिंगर्स है कुछ भी हो सकता है सो हियर इट गोज डू यू लाइक हेल्दी फूड और डू यू लाइक जंक फूड डू यू लाइक हेल्दी फूड और डू यू लाइक जंक फूड आई लाइक चॉकलेट बार्स I like apple pie. I like chips and cookies. I like salty fries. But healthy food makes you strong. Healthy food makes you fast. Junk food, it makes you weak. Junk food makes you big and fat. I don't care about that. I have a pizza, please. I'll take some soda and some extra cheese. But healthy food helps you grow. Healthy food is good for you. Junk food, it makes you soft. Junk food, it makes you slow. But I like fudge and churros. I like candy too. I like hot dogs. I like fast food. So this is how the song will keep continuing. I mean, I've just taken up a part from it, but this is how you can go ahead, involve music, involve storytelling, involve a visual, auditory, and kinesthetic impact as far as this kind of a lesson is concerned. So again, as you can see here, all the ingredients that have been used in different activities as far as this slide is concerned, they all come from the kitchen. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, then as we said, ये already हमने discuss कर लिया है. So let's move on to this one now. We've talked about a lot of activities that we can take up in the primary wing or maybe the middle wing. So let's move on a little ahead and discuss a few activities which you can take in a little bit of higher classes also. So seventh, sixth, seventh, as a matter of fact, this can even go in class 10 because there is this chapter on light and reflection and refraction. So you could use spoon and bowls as convex mirror और आप उनका impact दे सकते हो कैसे वो reflection करते हैं. So you can take up this topic on light and reflection in physics basically. Then use of knife and choppers जिसके through हम pressure का concept सिखा सकते हैं. Can anyone tell me how we can go ahead and teach pressure through the use of knife and choppers? Anybody? There's something we do in class 9 based on this. Yes, who's that?
Yes, ma'am. Like, ma'am, if yeah, ma'am, Pushpa Kumari.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
Kanika and
when we
Pushpa.
cut,
Yes, please
yes, ma'am.
continue.
Ma'am, when we cut any food, if the knife has very sharp edges, definitely we will be able to cut very well. But
Okay.
but when the knife has a thick edge, we will not be able to cut it.
Okay. So I think you all know about pressure is equal to thrust per unit area. So area जो है जितना ज़्यादा होगा उतना pressure कम लगेगा because there is an inverse relationship और pressure और area जितना कम होगा उतना pressure ज़्यादा लगेगा. That's why we teach students, I mean there's this question in science which says why is it that sharp knives are able to cut easily, whereas blunt knives are not? So you can actually show her, they could have a sharp knife and you could have a blunt knife. Make a use of both of them and start teaching them about pressure. So 7th से लेके 9th तक I think ये सब में हम use कर सकते हैं. Then 8th में you for 8th standard students you could use utensils with plastic handles. So I think PVC, Teflon, इस तरह की जो चीजें हैं उनके बारे में we can teach them. Plus we can also teach them about conduction, metals and non-metals. I will not take other things, but conduction कैसे सिखा सकते हैं? Kanika, are you there? I think there's someone called Kanika in the group.
Yes,
हाँ,
ma'am.
कनिका आई थिंक आप पिछले वाले में भी आंसर देना चाह रहे थे. इफ यू कुड टेल मी कंडक्शन का कॉन्सेप्ट कैसे सिखा सकते हैं?
Ma'am, so like for example, using utensils, so ma'am, like the pressure cooker or some kadhai that we hold. So we ask the students that now your mother is, or you are only cooking using that. It's constantly on the heat. The pressure cooker is hot, but you're still able to hold it from the handle. So why is that? So like if the material is different and the conductivity is poor for that material, so the heat does not reach it. So you are able to use it. So usage of such materials, metals and non-metals in utensils.
करेक्ट. और कंडक्शन में ये भी होता है कि आप बेसिकली कोई चीज हीट अप कर रहे हो तो राइट टिल द एंड वो हीट चली जाती है. सो कैसे अगर अच्छे वाले हैंडल्स नहीं बने हुए तो किस तरह से आपको वो हीट फील होती है अपने हैंड में. सो दिस विल बी समथिंग which can teach you conduction. तो कैसे हम किचन में हमेशा napkins का इस्तेमाल करते हैं to make sure that our hand doesn't get burnt. So you can talk about this. Then as we've already discussed, class 9 maybe we can talk about 9 maybe 8 maybe we talk about friction, pressure, heat by using the making of a chapati wala concept. And 10th you could use a lighter or a matchstick to generate flame, and you can discuss about friction, you can discuss about an electric spark, you can talk about heat. So there are these a lot of activities. और इसका एक suggestion primarily ये है कि वर्चुअली, क्योंकि क्लास में आप बना रहे हो चपाती, अब आप क्लास में नहीं बना सकते हो. कुछ चीजें हैं दैट यू कैन एक्चुअली टेक अप इन क्लासरूम, लाइक यूजिंग अ मैचस्टिक टू जनरेट फ्लेम. नाउ दिस इज एन एक्टिविटी यू कैन टेक इन क्लास. So there are a lot of activities which you cannot take in class, and there will be certain activities because of the COVID thing. Students are at home, so आप इसको कैसे convey करेंगे students को? So you just record a video, and जैसे an academy में होता है, Udemy में भी same concept रहते हैं. They perform, they create videos and they just upload them. So you can do the same thing, record your videos, while performing the kind of activities you want to take up, and then start explaining the physics behind it. So this is a very good way of taking up your concepts and lessons through virtual media as well. Okay. Now, ये जो दो activities हैं, using kitchen as a resource for joyful learning across different age groups. Now, if you see, there is one activity, one picture on the left hand side, and there's one on the right hand side. So जो left वाला है, that can be used. ये अब एक kitchen की ही picture है, right? So kitchen में, this is how you can teach prepositions to small kids. Okay, now prepositions are basically the words which connect, the locations of two nouns or more than two nouns. तो जैसे इसमें pan और stove, दोनों ही nouns है. Pan is also a noun, stove is also a noun. So the pan is on the stove. If you can see picture में pan है भी है stove के ऊपर. The cutlery is in the drawer. Cutlery में आपका forks, knives, ये सब चीजें आती है. So the cutlery is in the drawer. The platter is on the counter. The dirty dishes are in the sink. The pumpkins are on the counter. The plates are in the cupboard and they are on the shelf. So ये है to teach prepositions. So वही kitchen को छोटे बच्चों के लिए आप maybe prepositions के concept सिखाने के लिए कर सकते हो. And बड़े बच्चों के लिए maybe students are in 8th, 9th and 10th. You can use the same kitchen to teach them active and passive voice. Okay. I'm sure आप सब लोग जब खुद भी 9th, 10th में रहे होंगे, you might have used these books from BBC. Is there anyone in the class who's used the English books from BBC? Okay. So इसमें since I think you people haven't used it, but let me tell you what it is about. तो आप क्या करेंगे? You will tell the child to maybe prepare a sandwich. As you can see here, there's a picture of a sandwich. Okay. When he or she is preparing this particular recipe, you can ask that student कि आपने जो recipe बनाई है, please put down the steps. So maybe butter all the slices of bread, spread 1 to 2 teaspoon of mint chutney, then arrange 3 to 4 cucumbers and carrot slices. तो पूरी उसने recipe लिखी. Now if you realize जब बच्चा लिखेगा, this is entirely in active voice. Okay? DBC की जो मैं बुक रेफर करने की बात कर रही थी, उसमें वो इसी तरह के कुछ रेसिपीज जैसे देते हैं, प्रोसेसेस भी हो सकते हैं, जैसे हाउ डू यू विड्रॉ मनी फ्रॉम एन ATM बैंक, बट वो किचन का नहीं है. दैट्स जस्ट अनदर एग्जांपल दैट आई हैव टेकन फ्रॉम आउटसाइड. तो किचन में इस तरह की आप रेसिपीज बनवा सकते हैं उनसे. So they'll enjoy doing this. They'll put down the recipe also. And then after having taught them the rules of how do you convert active voice into passive voice, you can ask them to convert the entire or translate the entire recipe in passive voice. So just say butter all the slices of bread hai, so that will get converted into all the slices of bread are buttered. Mint chutney, 1 to 2 teaspoon of mint chutney is spread. So this is how they will learn active and passive voice while we are using what is called kitchen as a resource. Okay, so the next one, another activity coming up your way. So another thing that you could do use, जैसे हमने अभी use is as we discussed, let's talk about vocal for local. So you could integrate a local cuisine, agro practices with kitchen. Local हो गया जैसे पोहा जो है वो महाराष्ट्रियन डिश है. Okay, या for that matter डोसा जो है वो down south particular state की एक dish है. So these are local items, and how we can use it. So you assign students to identify the local cuisine and agro products, observe and analyze knowledge, skills and practices that may be fading away. बहुत सारी cooking practices हैं जो over a period of time खत्म होती जा रही हैं. So you can ask people local cuisines के बारे में पता करें, जैसे केरला में कौन सी local cuisine है, पंजाब की local cuisine क्या है, गुजरात की कौन सी है, सिक्किम की कौन सी है. So just go ahead and ask them to identify them. Then arrange a meeting of students with the local farmers so that they know about agricultural processes and challenges. जैसे crop rotation follow करते हैं, multi cropping follow करते हैं, intercropping follow करते हैं, so they can understand about what kind of agro practices are there which involve the cultivation of these kind of crops. Plan and execute a project of reaching out to restaurants जो कि local cuisines को serve भी करते हैं. Okay, then restaurants में जाके आप बात कर सकते हैं, and you can include studying original cuisine of the vicinity of the locality and adaptation of other cuisine to local taste. जैसे if I talk about Delhi में हम मसाला डोसा खाते हैं, but that's more like a Punjabi masala dosa. So there is an interbreeding of two kinds of cuisines together. So अगर आप down south अगर ये वाला डोसा दोगे तो वो कहेंगे डोसा है ही नहीं in the first place. Okay, इसी तरह से चाउमीन की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो जो ओरिजिनली चाउमीन का टेस्ट होता है एंड द काइंड ऑफ चाउमीन दैट वी हैव, उसमें हमने बहुत ज्यादा मॉडिफिकेशन कर दी. सो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड किस तरह से इंटरेक्शंस हुई हैं बिटवीन कल्चर्स, ग्लोबलाइजेशन ने कैसे इम्पैक्ट किया है हमारी फूड ईटिंग हैबिट्स को. सो लॉट ऑफ ज्योग्राफी इन देयर, लॉट ऑफ हिस्ट्री गोइंग इन देयर. So this is another way in which you can, and yes, you can understand about the science as to how these things are cultivated or produced. So this is how you can use integration of local cuisines and agro practices, and you can make your students learn more about it. So after having taken all the entire session for today, let me see if you some of you can give me a few activities in the chat box that you can take up wherein you can use kitchen as a resource for teaching learning. Let's have some answers from you. If you don't want to type, I think we can just I can just give you a minute. Think about it. I'll call out your name, and then you can discuss an activity with me and share your ideas with the other students as well. So how can you use kitchen as a resource for teaching learning for your students? Okay, so I can see the chat box. Pushpa, thank you for the compliment. Come on, guys, let's have your brains racking, and let's have some answers from you. Jyoti ma'am, if there's anyone who's raising hand, please do call out their names because I won't be able to see them.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'm giving you all another 45 seconds to think, and then we will start with the discussion.
Yes, Ritu, you can go ahead, Bicha.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, if I'll talk about my specialization of subject is geography. So if I want to take example of from geography in the kitchen, I would like to ask my student, like, we know that in kitchen we use so many things. We use pulses, we use vegetables, we use fruits and all, so many things. And there is and for growing these things, different types of soils is required. So
Right.
I will ask my students to research over the thing, like what type of pulses is grown in what type of soils, and
Correct.
which type of fruits are grown in which type
Okay.
of soil, and what is the procedure of growing that particular food or crop in the fields, and like what is the procedure of growing all those things.
Correct.
And besides this, I can also use them, make them to, like, what all things are required besides soil, what are the other things which we require to for growing the
Yes,
healthy
maybe the
crop.
maybe the
Yes,
climatic
ma'am.
conditions and other stuff. Correct.
To
So
drainage for
yeah, Ritu, thank you so much. और इसकी starting point आप ये भी कर सकते हो कि you can ask your students कि जिस भी background या culture को वो belong करते हैं, they can prepare, get some food item prepared, and you can have a virtual party in classroom. Okay, so let them have their food, enjoy it, and at the same time you can have a discussion based on that once they finish with their food. So you can tell them, अच्छा, what did you get? So okay, ma'am, I got this. Okay, तो इसके बारे में आपने क्या research किया? And that's how they can come and discuss about it, as you just mentioned. So good idea, Ritu. Benita, I think you're also trying to convey something. If you could tell us in detail.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
There is one chapter, diversity in geography also.
Yes.
So we can teach diversity with the help of different food made in different states. We can
Correct.
ask the student to search for that food, which is the main cuisine of that main area, and ask them what is the difference, why there is a difference in different states, why not the same food is not considered the same, the popular one. So they can
Okay.
understand the diversity, different types of language, religion followed. That's why, ma'am.
And from there you can move into a concept of civics, which is talking about unity in diversity. So
Yes, ma'am.
despite all the differences and the diversities we have, we are still united. So वहां से आप civics में भी जा सकते हो. Correct, absolutely right. Monica, आप बताओ, आप भी कुछ mention कर रहे हो? Okay,
Ma'am,
Jyoti ma'am, yeah,
yes,
anyone else?
ma'am. Kanika has raised her hand.
Okay, Kanika.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to use those measuring cups, that half cup, 1 cup, 1/4 cup, one
Yes.
eighth cup. Ma'am, for
Correct.
maths, because a lot of times children have a problem that, okay, I need to have 2.5 cups of water, but I
Right.
only have 1/4 measuring cup, 1/4 cup measuring cup.
हाँ,
So,
and this also gives me a very good idea. सबसे आसान चीज जो हम बोल सकते हैं वो है मैगी बनाना, because वो almost सभी बच्चों को उसकी रेसिपी भी पता होती है. They enjoy Maggi as a form of junk food also, simple to make, and ratio proportion उसमें भी involved होता है. So I think for one packet you have to put 1.5 cup of water. So yes, that's a very very good idea कि recipes में आप weighing measures का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो. बॉटल से पानी ले रहे हो तो एक बॉटल का कितना कैपेसिटी होता है. सो यस, यू कैन टॉक ऑफ मेजरमेंट्स. एंड जैसे सुबह हमें किसी ने बोला था केक बेकिंग, उसमें भी बहुत सारे इंग्रेडिएंट्स जाते हैं जो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्रोपोर्शंस में होते हैं. यस कनिका, एनीथिंग एल्स?
no, ma'am, as of now, just this one.
Okay, thank you, Kanika.
Rahul and Jyoti Bist also raised their hand.
Rahul, let's start with you, and then we'll go to Jyoti, and then we will again go to Benita also. There's an answer in the chat box. Yes, so one by one, please.
Yes, ma'am. So particularly talking about science, we can do this trial and error method. I think that, we can use a knife. We can first of all show that for example, if I am a teacher, so I will use that blunt side of the knife to cut any particular vegetable. But then the students will notice that, no, sir, it is wrong. You will have to use the other side. Then I
Yes,
will
because
tell them how.
I agree, Rahul. Sorry to butt in, but I agree with you. Students are very good at capturing mistakes. अगर टीचर मिस्टेक करेंगे वो वैसे ही एंगेज हो जाते हैं कि हाँ मैम ने गलती की है ना, अब ध्यान से देखेंगे दोबारा नेक्स्ट गलती कब करेंगे. सो आई थिंक इन अ वे आपने इनडायरेक्टली एक और चीज बोली है. अगर हम जानबूझ के कोई एरर करते हैं ना, बच्चे बहुत ध्यान से सुनते हैं आपकी बात और वो इमीडिएटली दे विल पॉइंट आउट, एंड दैट इज अ रिफ्लेक्शन. बजाय हम इस चीज के कि नॉर्मली वी नो मोस्ट ऑफ अस गेट अपसेट कि बच्चे ने हमें टोका, but I think it's a good way of getting a feedback कि yes, the children are interested in class. तो कभी-कभी जानबूझ के भी गलतियां कर देनी चाहिए. Okay, Rahul, you were continuing. I'm sorry to have interrupted you. Yes, Rahul.
Yes, ma'am. This was the same point which I was trying to make. So I like this. I can use them. I can teach them the topic of pressure and area, and this was my and maths ke liye bhi, ma'am, I was using the same thing, that ratio and proportional wala.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's it from my side.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Next person.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Jyoti.
Okay, Jyoti, please tell
Ma'am,
me.
actually you are talking about Maggie, so we can teach them also how the heat is transferred in water. Like we can't always say conduction, we can say it is through convection also.
Yes, yes. And then you can use it further to distinguish between these conduction and convection also.
Conduction and convection. Yes, ma'am. There are lots of it.
Yes, and I think इसी से मुझे एक और idea है. You can talk about evaporation क्योंकि इसमें पानी evaporate भी होता है.
Yes, ma'am, evaporate Maggie खाते खाते सब हो गया.
Yes, so thank you, Jyoti. That is a good idea because एक ही चीज से आप बहुत कुछ सिखा सकते हो उसमें बच्चों को, even though it's a simple item like Maggie. And yes, you can also teach them एक आध बार Maggie खाना is fine, but it is junk food. You shouldn't have it. So again, you can bring out the difference between healthy food and junk food also. Correct, Benita.
Yes, ma'am. Right, ma'am. In English also, ma'am, we can use the cooking part as a part for teaching. Like there is a one thing dialogue writing part in English,
Correct.
so we can ask the student to make a conversation with them how they will cook ma'am, any dish, and they can have that conversation part, ma'am. In fact, we can teach the conjunction part also, how to combine the two sentences of that one.
Correct, correct, correct. So as a matter of fact, इससे मुझे याद आता है थोड़ी देर पहले राहुल ने मेंशन किया था उसको बहुत भूख लग रही है. So probably we could have a dialogue between Rahul and Benita, जहाँ राहुल कह रहा है कि मुझे भूख लग रही है and I want to cook something and Benita is trying to explain to him कि ये चीज बना ले, ऐसे ऐसे बना ले. So this is a kind of dialogue writing that you could have. So जो भी situation है या बच्चों का जैसे अभी यहाँ से मैंने पकड़ा उसको भूख लग रही है तो we can have a dialogue based on that. So yes, Benita, that's a very good idea. Then Ritu.
Ma'am, one thing also, ma'am, Monica mic is not working, so I'll read this part she have written in the chat box. She want to convey that kitchen can be used to figure out different scientific processes like physical and chemical changes, acidity and basicity, and heating and boiling points, etc. by different dishes.
Yes, absolutely right. As a matter of fact, boiling और evaporation का भी difference होता है. I think 9th में सिखाते हैं बच्चों को. So boiling and evaporation का distinction भी आप इस के जरिए समझा सकते हैं using kitchen as a resource. Correct. Very good, Monica. Next, and I think I'll take this as the last one. Ritu. आपने भी कुछ mention किया. Yes, please tell me.
Ma'am, same as in English, like we can use there are so many types of utensils which we use in kitchen, and every utensil have their use and different purpose. So we can ask the student that this is a picture of this you have 4 utensils in this picture. Now you have to create a story by using these utensils as the character of their story, in which they'll be telling about that for what purposes they are being used in the kitchen, and they'll be talking about that in what kind of dishes they are helping to cook.
Very nice. Yes, thank you, Ritu. Jyoti ma'am, I must say you have a very creative bunch of students this year.
Yes,
इनके पास बहुत
ma'am.
ideas है. I think
Yes,
there is so much that I am getting to learn from these students today, and I
Right.
think it's really an exchange of good ideas across the table. So I'm very happy today. And yes, that also reminds me. अभी Benita ने जो example दिया था about dialogue writing. अभी we took up a story, a song between broccoli and chocolate. So we can even have a dialogue writing as far as these two objects or these two commodities are concerned, wherein broccoli tries to prove that I am healthy and I'm good for health, and chocolate has its own even the chocolate tries to convince the broccoli that I am better than you, and finally it's the broccoli that wins the dialogue. So dialogue इस तरह से भी हो सकते हैं. ओके, सो हैविंग डन दिस, अभी जो आज मेरा सेशन रहा आप लोगों के साथ, उसमें मैं यही बोलूंगी कि आपके फ्यूचर के लिए दिस इज व्हाट आई एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम ईच वन ऑफ यू. So I want you to become more like Shah Rukh Khan from Chak De, or Rani Mukherjee from Hichki, or Amir Khan as a teacher from Tare Zameen Par, or Akshay Kumar as a guide and facilitator in the movie Gold. So I think you all have that capacity in you, and I would like you all to just go ahead and give it your best shot as far as your teaching learning process is concerned with your students. And I think with this we would like to end this session for today. But before we leave, I would like you to mention your basic feedbacks about all the sessions that you've had till now. Okay, so let's hear it from you in the chat box, and then we can take up the question and answers. I will just stop sharing my screen in the meanwhile and put my video on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, students, you can unmute yourself and share the feedback with ma'am, the key takeaways of the
And
session.
in the meanwhile, if there are any questions, I think we can take it simultaneously so that
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah, we can manage time properly then.
Right, ma'am. So please unmute yourself, share your feedback, ask your questions.
Thank you, Benita, for the positive feedback. And yes, you can, it's not just the positive feedback. If there's any area of improvement, you can share that as well.
Hi, good morning, ma'am.
Shubham, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Shubham.
I would like to say a great presentation style and lots of opportunities to ask questions. And the way you start your presentation, like in the morning, and how you do activity and involve each and every student just to make sure that the sleeping ones are also awake and everyone get involved.
Okay, thank you.
And like you give the real life examples, and today also you sang a song.
Yes,
So I think in 3 to 4, 5 sessions we have seen a lot of shades of you, right, ma'am?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Make it made the presentation very enjoyable and informative, of course, ma'am. So thank you for all the sessions, and I think we all have learned a lot from you.
Thank you so much. Really means a lot. Okay, any more
questions?
Good morning, ma'am.
One by one, I think just give me your name, guys, and we can listen to what you have to say.
Yes, ma'am. Pushpa Kumar. Ma'am, I want to tell ma'am the way you teach or the way you speak is something that is so energetic that energizes the whole environment. And when you speak, we are like we don't get bored because the way you speak is something that gives energy to us, and we are so much confident to speak. We want to speak. We always want to be active in the sessions, and the how talented you are, it all is showed when you teach with all the innovative ways you can, and in you try to integrate all the aspects, whether it's singing or whether the your style, it's whether it's communication, whether even the way the formal things we need to have in our life, how to greet someone, how to say thank you to someone. This all things are so important, and the way you teach is so splendid, ma'am. Really, it's splendid. Thank you
It's good
so
to
much,
hear.
ma'am.
I mean, when you put in effort and people, give you a positive response, it really, makes your day. So thank you so much for that response.
We have Ritu, I guess, right?
Okay, Ritu, yes.
Ma'am, first of all, I want to thank you for for sharing all the valuable and the crucials and the very very important points which we have to carry out throughout life. And secondly, the thing which I like the most is like after your 1 or 2 sessions, we are just like that now. This is Bandan ma'am's session. Now we'll be having activity, so we are already having that mindset. Yes, ready, steady, go for the activity. Here comes the new activity, and we'll be getting ready for this activity. And now I have to participate in this activity, so that I love the most. And thank you, ma'am, for being with us and sharing your
As a
experience
matter of
with
fact, Ritu, I would like to share कि I think energy अगर आपको मिलती है तो it spurs my enthusiasm and energy as well, because when you get to have interactive participants, no, I think that's the best thing that can ever happen to a resource person. अगर मैं lecture देती हूँ and people don't participate, तो एक time आएगा even my energy will start dwindling. But I think you people have been one great lot of students, very, very interactive, a lot of innovation, ideas, and creativity. So hats off to you people as well.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. So any more questions? Let's take up some questions if you people have them. Okay, I think Jyoti ma'am, if you could just see there's anyone else, otherwise
Yes,
we can.
ma'am. Yes, any questions from your side?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I hope there is no question. So thank you so much, ma'am. As you can see, the lot of appreciation is there, and that's why you are my favorite speaker. And I always like to invite you because I personally love your sessions, ma'am. Thank you so much for your valuable time and the consent you have given always. Ki, yes, I will be there. So thank you so much, and looking forward more sessions from you, ma'am.
Yeah,
And
definitely,
ma'am,
ma'am. It will be my pleasure.
yes, ma'am. We will stay connected, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day and a great year ahead. And
Wish you the same.
so I hope this COVID thing, disappears quickly. So let's see if we can meet offline as well sometime. Okay. So and all the best. I think they'll be having their exams in a few days or something.
No, ma'am, it is not like that. They are having their exams in the month of May, ma'am. May first week.
Okay. So chalo, anyways, since I won't
yes,
be there, let me wish them. So all the best, students. Give it your
right,
best
ma'am.
shot in both your theory and practical exams. I think you guys are all going to be doing brilliant because I have got to know so many of you. Talking to you makes me feel that you people are a very intelligent lot and you're going to do really, really well and you're going to make your teachers proud.
Yes, sure, ma'am. And please take out some time and visit our campus because
Sure, ma'am.
now they are also joining us. The college is open in physical mode,
Okay.
so
Okay.
all students will join soon. So
Okay.
please take out some
Yeah, sure,
time and
It
visit
is
here
always
physically.
it is a good idea to always meet in person than meeting
Yes, ma'am.
virtually.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chaliye. ठीक है. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll take your leave.
Much, ma'am. And I will
Okay.
share the
Thank you.
feedback, ma'am, by
Sure.
today evening, ma'am. Thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
ma'am.
So,
Thank you,
okay.
ma'am.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Yes, ma'am. You too.
Thank you, ma'am. Take care, ma'am.